All right, everyone. Phil here, and welcome to the third and final part of the Ask the King Thanksgiving 2022 Spectacular here on DSPGaming. I hope that you guys have been enjoying the show. If you've been watching live on stream, thank you. You've been a great audience, an interactive audience. Your support is much appreciated today. This is the final segment. I'm going to wrap up in about 45 minutes here, the final questions. If you've been watching on demand, this is part 3. You missed out on the first 2 parts. Be sure to check out those 2 parts as well if you have not seen them yet. Okay? One quick thing, if you remember, excuse me, if you would like to post up questions for the next episode of Ask the King, you already can. You can either type !, Ask the King into the stream chat at any time when I'm live, or if you are becoming a member, all right, you will get priority access basically about a week or 2 before the show happens in January. Keep in mind, every single question that I've answered on the show so far has actually been from a member. They were all high priority member questions. Now, I'm going to pull a couple questions from the forums and a few off of Twitter to end the show. So if ever you wanted to see, wow, that's priority, wow, you get a big reward for being a member, yeah, Ask the King is primarily for members these days, okay? Sounds good? All right, guys, it's time to end the show, so let's jump right into it. Forum questions. Our first forum question is from Anthony Courier, who asked the following question. He says, Phil, I've actually been watching your content all the way since the original Left 4 Dead in 2009. Now, that was a long time ago. I've always wanted to be able to play with you, but I know it's hard to play with fans. You can't just choose one to play with. My question is, how do people like me who are legit fans get the chance to do something with you? Honestly, I'll be honest with you. There's not really a way to do it. Things change over time. Let's put it that way. When I first started as a YouTuber, it was kind of an innocent thing, right? It was, Rodham Electric, I don't know what you're talking about. You're saying first your tip and now Ask the King. Why would I not have read your tip? I don't even know what you mean. If you had tipped me, I definitely would have read that, unless it was a troll tip. Ask the King, just because I didn't select your question, there's no reason to be upset. Anyway, someone's upset. Back in the day, when I first started on YouTube, it was kind of an innocent thing. It was me just dicking around, being silly, playing games, having fun, randomly doing stuff with people, with viewers, all kinds of stuff, right? But, over the years, it turned into a job. Over the years, I got a following, and then I got a troll following. And, what ended up happening was, sadly, people decided to take opportunity to kind of ruin things for people who wanted to do stuff cooperatively with me. And I kept trying to keep it going there for a while. For a while there, I actually had patron exclusive events, people who would be part of my Patreon, that I would try to, coordinate with them at times. Here's basically what happened. It used to just be all for fun, who gives a shit. Then all of a sudden, it became like people wanted my time because I became more and more in demand to do stuff with online. And when that started to happen, basically what ended up happening is people would troll to waste other people's time. They saw ample opportunity. Oh, here's someone who really wants to do something with Phil. Let's ruin that for them. Why? Just because they can. Yes, the nature of trolling is just doing something to ruin someone else's day and kind of get away with it, right? So in that regard, yeah, there was a lot of that going on. And over the years, whenever I tried to do an open multiplayer event, it didn't work. You'd end up with 90% trolls coming in trying to ruin it for everyone. So even the people who were legit there would just be pissed off. Even to some extent, the patron stuff. Like, again, it used to be a patron level where you would pledge to my Patreon and you would get access to a multiplayer event with me. What would end up happening was it was hard to coordinate those events because I have a worldwide audience, international. It's not just people in the United States. So me trying to coordinate, it would take sometimes 2-3 weeks to try to coordinate with every patron to try to get a multiplayer session in. Half the time they wouldn't even work, or they try to do it, it'd be laggy, and you go, damn, it kind of sucks. You paid for something and it wasn't satisfactory. So after a while, I wasn't really having fun doing it, and the patrons honestly weren't really having fun doing it either. The last one I remember doing was, it was around Christmas time one year. It was the same year that Metal Gear Solid 5 had come out, and we tried to do an online session of fans, doing that online sneaking game, was Metal Gear Online or whatever, and it was just completely ruined. The trolls just kept showing up. They kept basically pissing everyone off, and anyone who actually wanted to do it legit was not satisfied. And ever since then, I basically laid down the law, and I was like, guys, we're just in a situation where this kind of thing doesn't work. I mean, even today, I don't do these online sessions anymore with viewers. And still, when I just do random online sessions, people try to find the match, join the match via someone else playing in the lobby who doesn't have closed, matchmaking. And then they try to fucking harass me and ruin the match. It's like, dude, come on. And the thing is, they really can't do it often anymore because I've really shut myself out from being able to have them do that with the kind of content that I do. It's mostly offline single-player content. Yes. Do I play Modern Warfare online? Yeah, and every match it randomly rematch makes, so that way the trolls can't really show up, which is good. And we've really avoided that troll element. For me to set up any opportunity to play with any viewer would literally just be recreating the troll element again. And that just gives them the opportunity to try to pick up where they left off all those years ago. So that's really the reason why I don't do fan lobbies, viewer events anymore. It used to be a staple thing I used to do until the trolls ruined it. I had no problem every Christmas time doing an entire week of just fan multiplayer. I thought it was something fun to do. You know what? Did those videos ever get giant views on YouTube? Did I make giant bank making that? No, I did not. In fact, that was basically kind of a week of sacrifice for the viewers, saying, I don't really care about making money this week. I just want to do stuff and give back to the viewers. Let's do multiplayer all week, But it became not viable anymore because of the trolling. And nothing has really changed, sadly. It's just kind of the same. I know if I set up any multiplayer with viewers, they would just be taken advantage of again by these assholes. So that's why I don't do it. Maybe in the future, there would be a situation like with Street Fighter 6. Maybe eventually we could set up like a lobby where we have viewers and fans try to join and fight me or whatever. We'll see. I don't know how the online capabilities of that game are going to work, right? But, we'll see. But for now, no, I don't have any immediate plans to recreate the whole situation where these people can come back to my community and harass my community members, harass me. It just doesn't make sense. Why recreate that same situation that we know has already been abused in the past? It's not like things have changed. It's not like I'm the more beloved content creator on the internet anymore. If anything, these people are still around and they're still harassing, right? So I say, just leave it be and enjoy the content for what it is. Sorry that I can't do multiplayer, but been there, done that. Liked it, had to stop doing it because of idiots ruining it. Shout out to Bookworm. We re-upped his membership for 6 months. Says happy Thanksgiving, Phil, and chat. Stay safe out there. Thank you very much, Bookworm. We have one more question I took from the forums. From Cody Carls. What games are you most thankful for over the years, whether it's viral hits or just games people have fond memories attached to you playing them that have helped viewers find you and your content? I would say the long-form adventure RPGs such as Skyrim, the Fallout games, right? Those style of games have really opened me up to a new audience because people like being along for that really cool journey with me of discovery, of adventure. You never know what lies around the next corner. Story elements. Really cool games for that. I would say I'm grateful for those who tune into my fighting game streams, even though a lot of the times I'm playing older retro games that a lot of people don't care about or don't really understand. It's really cool that people care about me growing up in arcades in the 90s enough to see me get that nostalgic feeling back and play the games that I truly love, as opposed to maybe playing some of the more modern games that I don't really enjoy. Chill streams, oh my god. I'm so grateful for the chill streaming games that we have played over the years. Minecraft, Animal Crossing, the Yakuza and Judgment series. Just this year, Bassmaster Fishing, right? Microsoft Flight Simulator, okay? That's just to name a few. But these are some games where it's more about me being able to chill and interact with you than it is about the main focus being the game and advancement in it. And because of that, we've had so much fun interaction, so much awesome conversation, that those feel more like social streams, right? Than they do gameplay streams. I love that. That's some of the more unique stuff that I've done over the years. It's some of the more meaningful stuff. And we can actually have big, interesting conversations about things rather than me saying, got to concentrate on this big boss fight or this big match I'm doing online and focus on winning. It's more about us just relaxing and having a good time. Let me tell you, those streams where we relax and have a good time and we disconnect from all the stress of having to do gameplay or whatever, that's good. That's really, really good to have that disconnect and have that relaxing session, especially if it's a week that otherwise was a very stressful week. It's always good to have those unwind sessions. Okay, before we get to Twitter, All right? Actually, I take it back. We have 2 more forum questions. Wait, we have 3 more forum. We have a lot of forum questions. Before we get to that, what I would like to do is do a special shout out to my patrons. These are people who on patreon.com/darksidephil every month support me. They pledge, and, regardless if they even get any kind of a reward for their pledge, they like my content. Perhaps these are people who don't necessarily care about the live stream so much. Maybe they watch on demand, and they want to have a way to support the content and not have to worry about being on a live stream to do it. And I appreciate that. Also, in recent months, people this year who started pledging to my Patreon for the private React videos, which I actually really love doing. Thank you to those as well, because that's been really fun to do and it's another way to get additional support. So, shout out to the following people: Adam DeYoung, the American MAGA Undertaker, SG Chargers, Slayer, Tyrian, Big Tone 995, Planet Jeff, 2 Bar King, 17 Kyle 1, David Denmark, QPZ MWN, Richard, Sean Given, Stormforce Gamer, and Thomas McDonald. Some of these guys are really, really long time supporters. Like, these guys have been part of my Patreon for like 5-6 years, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for that support over the years. I really appreciate it. Okay, continuing on with forum questions. This one is from Chris. It says, over the 2 years that I have now subscribed and followed you, I believe deep down you're a good person who unfortunately deals with enormous amounts of hate and trolls online. Do you think with this interview coming up, will this accomplish a wider audience seeing who you really are? Or are you afraid that it'll be used to feed the trolls more? I understand it's a hard place to see a positive result, but I'm sure that you're thinking about that as well. Thank you very much for your entertainment. Glad you're still around creating content. As I've said recently on this show, the whole point of me doing the interview, all right, is not necessarily to come out and say, ha, gotcha, here's all the shit you've said about me, and here's the outright definitive evidence that everything that you've ever said about me is wrong. Because the only way that I could do that would be to expose myself even further to risk and harassment and crime, quite frankly. Because when I'm seeing people regularly commit identity theft, commit fraud, to get me in trouble, like I said, the reason last year it was so bad was because this person who got unauthorized access to one of my accounts used that to basically piggyback to another account, and once they had access to all of those accounts, now there was money being transferred, there was overdrafts happening. It was not good, okay? And I can't go through that again. So to put myself at that kind of level of personal risk by giving any kind of personal information out, it can't happen, you see? But the purpose of me doing this is not to appease the trolls. I don't care about the trolls. Those trolls are never going to be appeased. My purpose is to simply get my side of the story out there, and whether or not you believe it is for you to judge. But I feel right now what's happening is when you have a wide network of larger content creators, we're not talking small-time guys making fun of me with detractor videos like they do. We're talking big-time YouTubers who think it's funny to reiterate those negative memes and stereotypes that are not true about me. They think it's a part of the running joke, right, to do it. I think that's completely unfair. And at least if I had an interview with a high-profile YouTuber with a following, who now, when I do this interview, at the very least, my side of the story is out. At least that gets exposure to a wider audience than just the 300-400 people I talk to every day here on my channel, right? That's the goal. And is that going to appease the haters? No, fuck them. Who cares? Doesn't matter what. I told you guys this endlessly. No matter what I say and do, those people just move the goalpost further. I could disprove everything they've ever said about me. They would just come up with 20 more things to say that are just as bad, if not worse. So what's the point? For me, this is me at least saying, please just give me an opportunity to speak to the shit people say and explain how it's not true and that how harmful this is to me and my family because you keep reiterating the nonsense. Okay? That's what I would say. And, again, would it have any positive effect? I don't know. I don't think it could hurt because the thing is my viewers already have heard all of this. So to them, just hearing it again is not a big deal. But maybe having a wider audience hear it could possibly help. I don't know, but you won't know till you try, right? Right? And then here's the thing too, and I'm going to outright say this. If and when I do this interview, all right, this will be the absolutely positively last time that I will ever address any of those bullshit memes about me. all the nonsense that people have reiterated for the past 5 years and kept regurgitating, I will never address it again. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care if you're the biggest YouTuber or whatever. Oh, now I want to interview Phil about it. Too little, too late. You had your chance, right? You could have. I made it public. I wanted to be interviewed. I've got a few people who are interested. Cool. I'm happy with the people who are interested. I'm very pleased, actually, with the people who have reached out and contacted me and want to be a part of this. So, I'm glad. Anyone else? Because here's the thing. Here's what's going to happen. I do this interview, and now immediately other people might be like, oh, you see? Well, let's now we want them. No, fuck off. You had your chance. This was it, That's it. When I'm talking about it, done. No more. Go. Because the thing is, the further I address it even further, it'll never go away. The best way to handle it would be, it's done. I'm never going to address it ever again. It's in my past. I already addressed it. Fuck off. I have nothing else to do with it. Same thing like I did when I reacted to my Down the Rabbit Hole video this year, and I literally addressed every thing in there, some of which I outright admitted to and said, yeah, I fucked up over the years, but some of that stuff was very fake. It was very misinformation, and I made that very clear in my response. That's it. This is what I have to say. I'm not going to waste my time on it anymore, right? So that's also the purpose of the interview, to put some closure on this. You want to keep regurgitating the falsified bullshit that literally has no evidence of any of it, go ahead. But I'm not going to care about it anymore. I'm moving forward with my life and my business. I'm not going to be sitting here listening to your nonsense endlessly. If you're going to regurgitate the same shit that I told you is false, go fuck off. I want nothing to do with you. Okay? All right. We got a tip. Ladies and gentlemen. A $42 tip from George Costanza 6.0. Wow. Thank you, George. He says, happy Thanksgiving. What's your favorite Thanksgiving memory? Mine's getting together with family members and going to the arcade together before the big feast. In reality, like I said, I already talked about this a little bit on the show earlier. I never really had any giant standout memories. By the way, let's get your animation playing. I never had any giant standout memories of Thanksgiving. It was mostly just relaxing at home with my family, watching the parade or watching some movies that were on TV, playing video games in my room while I smelled the food cooking until it was ready. That's really what it was all about. It wasn't about, we had this tradition of going to the movies or whatever. Like, a lot of people do stuff like that. We never did stuff like that. Yeah, in that regard, nothing like that. But, for me, it was a lot about the food and the family, staying at home, a more tight-knit family. Like I said, our extended family days were always Christmas. We would go around visiting. We went to 2 different houses, usually. For Christmas Eve, we'd go to my great-aunt and great-uncle's house. And Christmas Day, we would go over to my godparents' house to celebrate and exchange gifts and all the like there. Okay? So, there you go. Thank you very much, George Costanza 6.0, for the very generous tip, biggest tip of the day. I'm already wearing a hat. We're at the end of the show. Normally, this would be the time when it would be like, hat, vest. I already got a vest, already got a hat. I really appreciate you helping me hit my tips goal again, because this is the only stream I'm doing today. So, thank you for that. Okay, continuing on, everyone. The next question is from K. Gallion. And K. Gallion asked the following. With the success of Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the anime series, and with a few more years of development time, the Cyberpunk 2077 game turned into a big success and exploded in popularity lately, with them continuing to add more content to the game. I've gone back. I've looked at your old playthrough. There's a lot of content you missed or otherwise you didn't see because of glitches or gameplay choices. Have you ever thought about going back for a second run, since the expansion Phantom Liberty is coming out soon? No. It's no mistake, all right, that I did not like Cyberpunk. But my dislike of the game was not focused on the glitches. Yeah, the glitches sucked. Yeah, the graphics were terrible. Yeah, there was shit happening left and right, up and down that sucked. But overall, as I explained to you guys, my major problem with Cyberpunk was the actual writing, the overall story arcs, and the gameplay elements, not the glitches, okay? I told you guys probably only about 20% of the time that I was playing Cyberpunk 2077 was I genuinely having a good time. I can tell you there was the plot line with the detective guy who you help out. That was fun. There was the plot line with the politician who was being mind controlled. That was fun. Some of the main story elements were good. But outside of, maybe 3-4 plot lines, I thought most of the story sucked. I thought most of the gameplay elements were done much better in other games like Deus Ex, Borderlands, or other similar games. And I thought the world design was terrible. I'm sorry, I don't like Night City. I think a city where every 5 minutes there's a sexual joke or innuendo shoved in your face to the point where it's funny the first time, it's annoying the second time, it's just fucking obnoxious the next 50 times, is that I don't care about it anymore. I don't want to see half-nude robots. I don't want to see, guys fucking each other up the ass with robot dildos. This is stupid. It's like, wow, it's hilariously funny for 2 seconds. Okay, I get it. It's like over-the-top, extravagant decadence or whatever. Everything's supposed to be so out of control because nothing is considered risque in this society. But then you realize it's just not fun anymore. It's stupid. It's tiring. It's annoying. It's boring. And when a lot of the plot lines feed into that society, you realize, okay, that's what Cyberpunk is. Got it. So I don't like Cyberpunk then. So then why would I want to play it again? Right? You see? Here's the thing. I feel that there are people that now that the game has been fixed, all right, and is better now, perhaps they would really enjoy this game more than at launch when it was a buggy mess. More power to you. But that's like saying, I know I don't like a puzzle game. So now, 2-3 years later, I'm going to go back and play a puzzle game again a second time. But I didn't like it the first time because it was a puzzle game. They didn't change the genre of game, so why would I come back 3 years later because they fixed bugs to replay the same puzzle game? Would that not be the equivalent of setting yourself up for disappointment and disaster? Right? So me knowing I don't like Cyberpunk and the universe it's built in and the gameplay elements and a lot of the stories, why would I then rebuy the game, buy an expansion for it, and play it further? I'd be an idiot, right? Now, by the way, this certainly has not turned me off from ever playing a game from CD Projekt Red ever again. They announced several upcoming Witcher projects that I'm interested in. I like Witcher. I would like to play a new Witcher game, or 2, or 3. So when the Witcher games come out, I'm all on it. I'm for it. Let's do it. But when Cyberpunk is out there, I'm going to skip it. Seems like not my cup of tea. Seems like something for a very different mindset than I am at the age of 40. I'm just saying. There you go. Okay, one final forum question from James Nichols. Longtime viewer since your Metroid Other M playthrough in 2010, and it's been an absolutely crazy ride. I'm glad you're still around. I'm writing into the state of your channel. You remarked numerous times recently the channel doesn't seem to appear to be growing as much as we'd like, with views on new releases basically being lower than they've ever been in the past. My question is, did you ever consider the logistics of making a brand new channel on YouTube and just abandoning DSP Gaming? It may sound like a crazy idea, but there have been many, many cases on YouTube where for whatever reason, the algorithm permanently screws with your potential of your channel to get any kind of recommendation to other people, and it gets pushed and getting pushed out to a wider audience. In your case, the event would have likely been in 2015 when you had to mass private all of those videos way back when. I didn't mass private them, I had to delete them. That was the problem. Mass privating is one thing, deleting is another. I was forced to delete them because someone was hitting them all with false copyright strikes, and literally them existing meant that I was liable or exposed to any kind of risk. If I had put them as private, they still could have gotten false copyright strikes against them. So that's why I had to delete them all. It was the deleting of the videos leading to millions upon millions of lost views on DSP Gaming that did kick DSP Gaming out of YouTube's algorithm, and it never properly re-entered. So there you have it. An inability to show up in search results, the inability to get recommended, and subscribers not being notified when new videos or streams go live are all common symptoms of this, and countless YouTubers have reported the only way they're able to get around this is by making an entirely new channel. While this would undoubtedly be a hard undertaking, as DSP Gaming has a lot of infrastructure already established in the form of memberships and branding, I think it would ultimately be doable considering, as you always say, your core fan base who supports you will follow you wherever you go, as long as they know that the move is going on. As such, I believe you could get established pretty quickly and experience a lot more organic growth as a result of not being crushed by the algorithm. What do you think? Thanks for reading. Happy Thanksgiving, Phil. We are all rooting for you. And again, that's from James Nichols. it's an interesting take and it's an interesting idea. Starting over completely from scratch, right? Starting a brand new YouTube channel, right? And basically saying from now on, DSPGaming is an archive of my past. Moving forward, I will do gameplay on a new channel. The way I see it is this. If that were to happen, first of all, it wouldn't be something that I do now. It would be something that would spurn it. So let's say, for example, somewhere down the line, I can actually afford to upgrade all of my equipment. And all of a sudden, now being able to afford that, right? Now, I say, okay, we're going to change the things I do around here. The quality is going to be better, right? You're going to see better visuals. You're going to see effects, maybe green screen. You're going to see a big increase to the quality of the content I'm putting out on the internet. So no longer would you even want it to be associated with DSP Gaming, because that's the past. You want this to be the future. So I would have to make a whole new channel with new branding, new logos, new everything, and push it as a brand new gameplay channel on YouTube. All right? That's a possibility. It's certainly not something I'm going to say yes. At the same time, it's not something that I'm going to say absolutely not. I would leave it somewhere in the middle. Okay? Like it's a maybe. All right? Now, what I would say is thus. I already have some things in the works. I already talked about it earlier today. I already have some things in the works. All right? For 2023, I already have an idea. I've already run it by a few people. They really seem to like the idea. I like the idea, and I think it's a great idea because it will be something interesting, fresh, and reinvigorating for my content. All right? I'm going to announce this in early 2023. I'm not going to spill the beans or spoil it just yet, but basically, I have some interesting ideas for next year that I feel will be fresh and new and different. Okay? So, there's stuff coming. There's change coming. Now, would any of that result in me hitting an algorithm and getting more popular? I absolutely have no idea. All right? I just don't. I wouldn't know until I try it. I guess we'll see. But for now, I'm keeping it zip the lip, not jump the gun and spoil anything. But I think some of the ideas that I've come up with, you guys should enjoy, and will refresh things around here. But like I said, if I were ever to change up gameplay content, there would have to be a real concrete reason, like upgrading everything here to look and sound better. And if that were the case, then rebranding, right? But I'm not going to do it with my current setup and do exactly the same thing just on a new channel. That would kind of be stupid, I think, all right? Give a reason to say, oh, by the way, we're jumping to a new channel because this is better, this is better, this is changing. Let's do it all together, right? So there you go. Okay, let's continue, everyone. Twitter questions, and this is it. This is the end of the show. We got Movie Lord 101 who says, what do you think is better, the Callisto Protocol what do you think will be better? Excuse me. The Callisto Protocol or the Dead Space remake? I don't know, all right? Here's what I want. I want Callisto Protocol to knock it out of the park. I want Callisto Protocol to bring back sci-fi horror, because I feel like it really was Dead Space that put sci-fi horror on the map. Yes, you had a few other games, such as Alien Isolation, that did it well as well, but it's been a while since we've had really good sci-fi horror. You had a game like Scorn that had a chance to do it and literally took the ball. They didn't just drop the ball, all right? They punctured the ball, deflated the ball, put it on the ground, and stomped it flat. Like, I don't know how you can start off with a game that had such a good start and then ruin it and botch it so poorly the way that they did. There has not really been sci-fi horror in a long time that's been consistently good. And I would love to see another sci-fi horror franchise take the reins and do really well. Especially because, Dead Space had great momentum and then kind of fizzled out with Dead Space 3. Since this is going to be a new plot, the sky's the limit where they can go with it. And hopefully it'll be an interesting plot where they won't just write it into a hole like they kind of did with the Dead Space franchise. And they can, if it's good, they can keep going with this franchise for a while. I'm not saying I want the Dead Space remake to fail. I'm just saying we've already played 3 Dead Space games. They've had their time in the sun. This remake is essentially just this. It's a remake where they're attempting to bring back an existing franchise to prominence when they don't need to. They could easily make a new one. And instead, they just want to ride the coattails of the previous IP that they own, even though the people who worked on those games aren't working on this one. It's a different studio working on this. So it is a little upsetting. I want to see Callisto Protocol succeed over Dead Space. Now, if they're both good, all right, then more power to all these game devs for doing a good job. And let's have parallel series directly compete with each other. It's like I've told you guys over the years, competition breeds innovation. If you have no competition and no one challenging you to be better, so you're the better choice for the consumer, you can become lazy. Just look at Call of Duty. Every fucking year, it's the same regurgitated shit. I don't even believe they've tweaked that netcode in 5 years. I don't believe it at all. It plays exactly the same online as it did 5 years ago. It's shit. And they don't care, because every year they will pump out the same game and fucking make the same amount of crazy money on it, because people keep buying it every year. So what incentive do they have, right, to make it better? Zero. So having a direct competitor, Callisto Protocol versus Dead Space. Now we have competition. Now we have two franchises that want to outdo each other, and we could see them go head to head, up and boop, 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 and that could be very exciting. So that I am very much looking forward to. Okay. Male privilege, but the name is spelled M-A-I-L, like privilege of, like physical male, like the letter to my left here, right? Says, is mac and cheese a dish or a side? Both. Mac and cheese can be both a main dish and a side. People who have it as a main dish typically would add something else to it, like some kind of a protein. It's kind of like ramen. You can eat ramen as a main dish if you add enough to it for it to become a filling meal. Typically, people in Asia who eat ramen add protein and veggies and other things, and then it becomes a good hearty meal, right? Mac and cheese, just macaroni with melted cheese. You might say, well, that's just a side dish for other things, because it has no real, where's the protein value? Where's the vitamin value in there? There's not much besides maybe calcium, right? So, yeah, basically, I would say that we need a situation where people eat mac and cheese endlessly and never eat another meal. I'm just kidding. I got distracted because Fens the Spook said something about Callisto Protocol. My mind went there, and I lost my train of thought, so I just said something stupid. No, I would say it could be both. I've had it as both. I've had lobster mac and cheese, or mac and cheese with bacon and veggies and stuff thrown in, and then it's like super good as a main dish, but it could also just be a side, so there's no definitive answer there. Okay. Jotun KJM asks, what do you think about console exclusives? Isn't it time that they all just went away? Here's the thing. There's always been this idea of direct competition between console manufacturers ever since the dawn of home consoles. We're talking back to Odyssey and shit like that, right? So everyone's competing, and you need a reason to choose one console over the other. And increasingly, what we've seen is that these console exclusives are some of the major reasons why you would buy one console over another. Let's face it. Like, Sony has some really good console exclusives right now. They're kind of knocking it out of the park in the last couple of years with games like God of War, the Demon Souls remake that was brand new at the launch of PS5. They got Ratchet and Clank. They've got Returnal. I don't really like that one, but still, it's exclusive. They've got quite a few. Kena Bridge of Spirits, although I don't think that's I think it's cross-platform now, but it wasn't back then. You see? So all these exclusives make people want to get the PlayStation over the Xbox. All right? But let's be honest, performance-wise and everything, these cross-platform games all play the same now. All right? In the 90s, your choice a lot of the time was, what version of the game do I want? Because it's Super Nintendo versus Genesis, right? And then later it became PlayStation versus N64. And these versions perform dramatically differently from each other. Now, it's more, the versions are all the same. So cross-platform game, who even cares what you play it on? Now your concern is more, can I even play it on my console if it's an exclusive? Should they completely go away? I mean, are they completely anti-consumer? Yes and no. Obviously, the ultimate consumer move would have every game be on every console, and then you don't have to worry about what you own or what you can afford or what you have access to. At the same time, having games that are exclusives may make them better. You know, when you have a Sony exclusive game and that studio is given a huge budget and tons of dev time to make an outstanding game, for example, case in point, God of War Ragnarok. If God of War Ragnarok was cross-platform, maybe it wouldn't have been as good of a game. But Sony has this investment that they want a killer app for the PlayStation. They want a game you can only play on a Sony console, and it's absolutely a best in class, knock it out of the park good. So they invest tons of money and time into it, and boom, you get this outstanding console exclusive experience. If it were cross-platform, maybe it wouldn't have been as good. Maybe there wouldn't have been that much time and money invested in it. So, you know, if it ultimately means that games are overall better for all consumers and gamers, then yes, we should still have console exclusive games. But at the same time, is it an anti-consumer practice to have your game limited to one console and now others can't play it if they don't own it? Yeah, it is. So again, it's another one of these double-edged sword situations. In some ways you benefit and in some ways you don't. As of today, I don't necessarily 100% think that it's time that we have to abolish console exclusives. All right? Maybe in the future, but for now, I don't think it's that bad. Okay? Here's what is unfortunate. Console exclusives stuck on the inferior Switch, and then they run like shit. That pisses me off. Because we've had games where you know if those were on another console, they probably would have been much better, and then stuck on the Switch, and, you know, it wasn't very good. Like, well, that sucks. I wish it had cross-platform capability. From Whoopie. Whoopie says, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dessert? Happy Turkey Day, DSP. Never really had that many Thanksgiving Day desserts. Usually, the cranberry sauce at dinner kind of served like the dessert for me, being that it is tart and bitter, but also sweet. And I like cranberry sauce a lot. So that was kind of like the dessert that I would eat along with the meal. Yes, my parents would usually get a pumpkin pie, but I don't like pumpkin pie that much. I just think it's okay. You know, I'll have a small piece of it, but I'm not going to sit there like, oh my God, I can't wait to eat this giant piece of sumptuous pumpkin pie. I prefer fruit. So for me, it was never a big deal. It was more just the cranberry sauce rather than the pie. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, the final question of the Thanksgiving 2022 Ask the King special from WRZRK. They ask, what are your thoughts on famous streamers and gaming influencers not being held accountable for shit that they say online? I'll give you an example. Recently, Dr. Disrespect has said that the new Modern Warfare 2 sucks. And he makes fun of people who are playing it, but at the same time, he's still playing it regardless. Thanks and have a great Thanksgiving. Now, here's the thing. I can't distinctly answer the question in regard to the Dr. Disrespect situation because I don't know the facts. Here's what I do know. He's been paying a lot of money. He's been paid a lot of money to promote the game. He actually has tie-ins with the game where if you have a code that you know from him and his streams and you enter it in the game, you get content. Like he actually has that tie-in. He's known as Mr. FPS. You know, he's dressed in a fucking military jacket, you know, silly glasses, like he's supposed to be like a military guy, right? So that's his thing. But apparently, from what I've heard, he actually does not like Modern Warfare 2. There's video of him trying to do his trick shots and shit that he used to do in Call of Duty. He can't do them in this one because they changed the game so much. And he literally rages, shuts the game, and deletes it from his console. Only to come back the next day and play it more because he's playing it for money. He's making tons of money playing this game. You see what I'm saying? I guess the thing here is that, you know, at the very least, you know what I'm happy to hear? If he really doesn't like the game, I'm glad he's being honest with it. Because there's so many people out there who aren't. There's so many people who are just fucking shills, and they'll just lie out their teeth. How many of these Call of Duty content creators every year, oh, it's the best one. Oh, it's so good. And then 6 months into the game, oh, this game always sucked. This game was terrible. Because why? Because all the promotions ran out. So they don't have to fucking kiss the game's butt anymore because they're not getting paid for it. So now it's time to slam that one and move on to the new one and say the new one coming out will be the best one ever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that at least if this is the case, if he's being honest with his audience, that's good. Now, the fact that he keeps playing the game obviously can be viewed as kind of hypocritical. If you don't like the game, why are you still playing it? Well, because he's getting paid to. Like, he's literally getting promotions out the ass for this stuff. So, of course, he's going to continue to play it. And let's be honest, if he doesn't play it, what else is he going to play if that's what he's known for? He's known as Mr. FPS. You know, what else games is he going to play, right? So, you know, the way I see it, and by the way, that SD Chargers is not real. What's happening is I'm getting that glitch again here on Streamlabs where I'm getting pop-ups for old contributions. It's a weird glitch on Streamlabs that this happens. But anyway, the way I see it is, at least be honest with your audience. And it sounds like he is being, which is nice. So I will give him props for that. That's the most I can say about him. Now, what I will say is that people absolutely need to be held accountable for the things they say and do online. How many times have I said over the years that when I started, I was not serious and I didn't feel responsible? And then how many things, you know, did I say that were dumb that now I really, really regret and I've apologized for publicly? But so many content creators in this modern day and age think that everything's a joke, and they don't understand that with the size of the audiences that they have, that the things that they say and do can concretely hurt others and even businesses and things. You know, how many people say shit about me? They don't know me. They don't know if what they're regurgitating is real. That hurts me because you said it, even though you didn't know it was real. You just said it anyway, right? How many people outright just insult others, drama shit, try to get into fights, punch down, insult games? That, you know, what's the point? And that gets me, that people don't feel like there's a responsibility. I mean, I've strongly criticized recently Review Tech USA, saying, how is it that Rich can regularly on his stream watch detractor videos of my content when a lot of the people he even are watching, it's been proven that what they say is falsified or it's over-exaggerated, right? It's been outright proven that some of the channels he's watched are people who have outright made shit up, but he watches it anyway. That's hurtful to me because he doesn't take the 10 seconds required to realize that's a scumbag. And then that, you know, he should have a personal responsibility to his audience that what he's putting out is content that has value and is not harmful to others. He doesn't care. All he says is, hey, I get to make money, so why the fuck would I care who else it affects or hurts, right? And that's fucked up. So, yeah, I think there should be personal responsibility for content creators. There really should be people who actually feel like, you know, what they say and do on the internet has meaning, and therefore, if you have a large audience who watches you, you should be responsible. When you have 1 million subscribers, even if only a third of them watch you, you've still got a lot of people who are listening to what you have to say. You should watch what you say. You should, you know, how many people during COVID and shit said really dumb fuck shit that really hurt people in the long run, and now they should, you know, should be fucking embarrassed with yourselves, right? All right, guys, that is it for Ask the King Thanksgiving 2022. I hope you enjoyed the show. I got a quick reminder. If you'd like to post up questions for the next episode, you could type ! Ask the King into the stream chat when a stream is live, or you can go directly to DSPGaming.com. There's already a thread on the forums to do it. Or if you're going to become a channel member in the future, usually about 2 weeks before each episode, I post up a members-only thread on this channel where members get their questions answered. And I did so this month. That's why most of the questions were members. I'm going to do so again sometime in January. All right? I would like to say once again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. I hope that you have a fun and safe day with your families and friends. If you're celebrating, if it's not Thanksgiving for you, I hope you still have a great day. And I really hope that you absolutely enjoyed this content. It's wholesome content, right? All right, guys, until next time, thank you so very much for watching Ask the King. I'll see you next year for the next episode. Peace out, everyone. Until then, I just have one final thing to say one last time.